Let's start the chapter. This is chapter 2 for the operation management. In this chapter, we'll talk about the competitiveness, strategic planning, and productivity. The learning objective is list and discuss the primary ways that organizations compete, describe a company's strategic planning like a mission, vision, value, goals, and objectives, strategy, strategizing tactics, an action plan, operation strategy, and its formulation and generic operation strategies. Now, we also gonna, one of the learning objectives is define and measure the productivities, solve the typical problem, explain why measuring the productivity of service is difficult, and describe factors affecting their productivities. In this chapter, the outline is we will talk about competitiveness, strategic planning is like we said as a mission, vision, and values. Talk about the goals, objectives, strategy, tactics, and action plan, and the strategy formation and the reason because our operation plan should be in synchronized with the strategic plan. And we'll talk about outline is like a productivity measurement of service, very important or of input product, and the factors that affect productivity. Now, when we talk about competitiveness, we usually say the ability and performance of an organization in a marketplace compared to other organizations that offer a similar or a service product. So the catching word compared to other organizations. Now, there is key purchasing area. Competitiveness is a key purchasing area. Is we look at price, quality, variety, and timeliness. And the price is the amount a customer must pay for the good or services. If all other factors are equal, customer will choose the good or service that has the lowest price. There is a value involved in it. Everything is equal, picks the highest generated value for the dollar he's expending. And then we'll talk, we see that the quality which is referred to the characteristics of goods and services that are determined by its design, material, workmanship, performance, consistency, and consistency, customer service, and innovations. Um, then we talk about variety, which is variety is the choice of a model and option available to your customers, different color, different sizing, different operations, different speeds, all these things. The more variety, the wider the range of potential customers. And we notice that you have Procter and Gamble has a 3,500 products in the market that different names, like different soaps, different shampoos, different toothpaste. And then you have the timeliness is the availability of good or services when they are needed by customers. I think I just took it a shot and it's not allowing me to talk easily. um, there is two different things. There is a order qualifiers and there is an order winners. And we need to differentiate this First, we need to be order qualifier, and then we find a way to be the order winner. Order qualifier is the minimum standard of acceptability for purchase. Acceptability for purchase allow product to be considered. Order winners create a perception of being better than other competition, allow the product to be purchased. So it's better than other competitions or what a customer is looking that the others don't have it. So when we talk about business compete using operation, competitive priorities is first the cost. The lowest the cost, the better. The second is the quality of the product. Third is the flexibility of the service or the product, what options is there, and delivery time when they are able to deliver it. Now here, where we are looking at example of competitive priority used by companies, take a look at it. Is For example, the cost is you're looking for a lowest cost. You have the great Canadians or Loblaw, superstores, IKEA, Amazon. And then you look for qualities, meeting the customer requirement, innovation, customer service like Apple, Boeing, IKEA, Costco, Toyota, Honda. These are the quality, flexibility, variety of quality, like computer Dell has a different varieties. IBM does now also, and Air Canada delivery, rapid delivery, on-time delivery, like a McDonald's, definitely, UPS, FedEx, WestJet, all these things, just-in-time suppliers. So the strategic planning, which is made of four part of it. It's the vision and the build the vision and the strategy. It financially has to be internal business processes, learning and growth, and customers. Um, we do need to do a balanced score scorecard framework, which is this one, and then we do a SWOT analysis. We see it in the video. A financial is the success or succeed financially. How should we appear to our shareholders? That's the main, the stakeholders, the shareholders, not the stakeholders. Internal business process is to satisfy our shareholders and customers. What business process must we exact at? Learning and growth is to achieve our vision, how well we sustain our ability to change and improve. And when it comes to the customer, to achieve our vision, how should we appear to our customers? Now, if we break it down, there is issue from strategic planning. There is what you call a mission, a vision, and a value. So, what's a mission? Mission is where the organization is going now for products and market. You want to be the number one supplier in the region, number one supplier in Canada, or number one suppliers in the world. That's your mission, or the cheapest in Canada, something like that. The vision is where the organization desires to be in the future, which is usually you are trying to meet the mission. The values is the shared belief of the organization and the stakeholders. And these are important, and we can bring few examples of each one of them. And then what you have is the goal and the objective is provide the details and the scope of the mission, And the strategies is a plan that determines the direction for achieving, not to achieve, for achieving organization goals. And then on a smaller case, you have the tactics and action plan is the specific method and action taken to accomplish a strategy. And I guess best example is when you talk about small boat versus the big ship and moving from point A to point B within, destination sports. So the strategic planning, the hierarchical strategic planning, first you have the mission, and then there is the goals, mission and vision. There is the goals. The goals goes to the you build the organizational strategy, and the organizational strategy is what you call the functional strategy, which, as we said, is divided into three: operation, marketing, and finance. And each department sector will do their tactics, which is their own business strategy or functional strategy. It's called tactics, policies, and action plan for finance, policies and action plan for marketing, and policies and action plan for operation. Rita is a high school student. She would like to have a career in the business, have a good job, and earn enough income to live comfortable. So what's her mission? Is to live a good life. What's her goal? To be successful and have a good income. Because a good income, a successful will help her to get her mission. Her strategy is to obtain a college education, and now she has a tactic of selecting a college and a major. So each one will generate the next higher level. And now she has this action plan. She's registering, buying new book, take the courses, attending the classes, study, and then graduate and get a job. Now, in the operation strategy, it's a set of coordinated policies, objective, and action plan that directly affect the operation function. It is consist of organization strategy consistent with the organizational strategy. As we said, it has to be contributed from the to bottom to the top. It support the competitive priorities. What's your priorities? How you can support it? It aimed at securing a long-term sustainable advantage over the competition. And there's something that you probably heard about it or you don't know is there is colleges and university is a student oriented and some of them are research oriented, and we can bring a great example of student oriented and research oriented. Probably Harvard, Oxford is they are known for their research. That's where their income generate. London School of Economics, probably also research oriented. But then you get the UCLA is student oriented. Most of the colleges and universities in Canada are student oriented. Now, in the strategic decision categories, we have to look at these deeply and make them to work together, coordinate their activities. First, we need to look at the facilities, the capacity, the vertical integration and sourcing, like outsourcing, supplier relationship type of it, and partnership. The product mix and the new products, production process types, and technology that support the production. We need to look at the human resource. We look at the quality, what quality level we are producing. And also, we look at the operation infrastructures, and systems. We'll explain each one separately. Now, formulation of an operation strategy link organization goal to operation strategies. So the organization goals link to operation strategies. And then categorize and segment customer into type and choose competitive priorities emphasizes. Group product line into a type, high volume and a low volumes. Conduct an operation audit to assess the strength, weakness, competitive positions. Assess the degree of planned focus. And the six, you develop and deploy a strategy for each decision categories, objective, policies, and action. This is the formulation of an operation, a strategy, not a business strategy, operation strategy. Now, there is a generic operation strategies, which is could be continuous improvement. You go for a large scale base, could be focus factories, flexible factories, and low labor costs. These are generic operation strategies that you want to improve it as much as possible and continuous improvement. Now, the quality and times-based strategy, what we have is a time-based strategy, which is focused on reduction of time needed to accomplish task A or B or C. But then you have the quality-based strategy, which is maintain or improve the quality that you have producing, may use initiatives such as Six Sigmas and process reengineering. That's another way of doing it. And we will spend one chapter on Six Sigmas and how it works. Now, we come to measuring the productivity, and we said it's okay to measure the productivities when it comes to products, but it's hard to do it when it's a service. But what's a productivity? A measure of effective of resources, usually expressed as a ratios. The output to input, you could have all the output and compare to the input, and you can measure the productivities of it. So, and also if you want to see the improvement, you can compare it with the previous stages, date or time or whatever. One of the primary responsibility of an operation manager is to achieve the productive use of organization resources. So we're talking about efficiencies here. And productivity ratio can be computed for a worker. We can do it for a department, an organization, or a country. But it's all about output divided on input. But then you can look at it because the output is can the input is has a breakdowns also. Um, the growth, the current productivities, now we said minus the previous period productivity divide by previous period productivity. This is how we compare our growth because we cannot do it standalone. We have to do a current period productivity minus previous period productivity divided by previous period productivity, and which shows 10%, 20% if you're improving, or minus 10, minus 20 if you're getting worse. So this is the productivity growth you're looking at. Now, there is a difference that we said measures of productivity, but it all comes in with the output first, and you want to, that's another way of managerial accounting. Output divide by labor because you're looking at the labor productivities or by the machineries You do output divided by number of machines, or output by capital, how much money you're putting. So you want to see how much is it, or the energies. There is a different way of measuring partial measurement of productivities. Now you have also the multi-factors measurement, which is a combination, could be a labor and machine, could be a labor capital energies, or could be labor and energies. These are multi-factors that you can look from a different aspect, from different corner to the situation. And then you have, as we said, the total measures, which is the total output over the total input, which is means goods or service produced divided by all input used to produce them, which is if it's labor, machines, capital, and energy, you add them and you divide the output over the input in a unified unit. So when you talk about labor productivities, you talk about the units of output per labor hour, units of output per shift, value added per labor hours. These are things that you can look at it. When you talk about machinery productivity, you talk about unit of output per machine hour. You're talking about capital productivity, units of output per dollar, because we said here money input. Dollar value of output per dollar input. And the energies, it is units of output per kilowatt hours, which is a dollar value of output per kilowatt hours, how much is generating, for example, energies. Could be gas, could be oil or something. Here is an example to make it easier. Utilizing the multi-factor productivities, we have produced 7,040 units, and the cost of the labor was $1,000. Cost of material we purchased 520, and cost of overhead 2,000. So, what is the multi-factor productivities? Is done this way: is multi-factor productivities the whole unit and the total in dollars, you divide them by each other, it becomes two units per dollar. So you produce 2 units for each dollar you spend in this situation. Now, keep in mind, productivity does not equal with efficiencies. Efficiencies is a different thing, productivity is different thing, effectiveness is different thing. It's use productivity to track the performance over time. So is it improved or disproved? It determines the area of improvement where we can improve and compare it with the competitiveness, whether are and we are in a competitive situation with competitions. When it comes to the service, the product measurement of service productivity is a problematic because the service is intangible, involve also intellectual activities, not only regular activities, how perceive and act, and have an output with a high degree of variability, could be high or low also sometimes. So how do we measure and improve of state of a customer? The factor affecting productivities. We look at the method, how we doing these things, the method that we are processing a product. Then we look at the uh, management. More they are knowledgeable, the more they about their product. That's one of the technology that's used and the labor, their ability to deliver. These are the factors affecting the productivities. So there is it could be improvement in the method or management or the technology or a labor or a combination of all these. Now, in this chapter summary, a company competitive priority might be cost, quality, flexibility, and or delivery reliability. In the old days, Toyota was a very low cost for a customer. That's why they were competing. Mercedes had a high quality. That's where it was competing. So identifying order qualifiers and order winners, we need to identify these two. That's when you have an RFI and RFP, and we can discuss it in the details. The strategies are plans for directing the organization to achieve its mission, visions, and goals. An operation strategy is a coordinated set of policies, objectives, and action plan related to the operation function in a nine strategic decision categories, as we explained it earlier. Productivity is a measure of efficiencies, but it's not efficiencies itself. It doesn't have to be equal. Use for of resources that is affected by the method, management, equipment, technology, and labor. Difficult, it is difficult to measure for a highly variable, intangible output of services. So the checklist is we managed to identify major competitive priorities. We define the strategy, planning, mission, vision, value, and operation strategies. We identified the nine strategy decision categories. We did the list of step involvement in formulating an operation strategy. We defined the productivities and discussed how it is measured. We were able to describe the factor affecting the productivities and explain why measuring productivities of service is difficult. Thank you very much.